Are playlists the new compilation? Coming up. HELLCAST. For Reaper Metal Productions, this is HELLCAST, and this episode, like every episode, is brought to you by the Dick Candle Blowers at hellsheadbangers.com. When you need metal, go to hell. hellsheadbangers.com. But when one of those guys is not here, you bring in your friend from Redefining Darkness. And I want to
like it or not.
Yes. So I want to welcome back to the show, Mr. Tommy Thomas. I don't. What's your official label on
Whatever
that?
you want to call me.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Well, then the dickhead.
The Reaper calls it.
So that dickhead from Redefining Darkness is back.
Fit right in with the dick blowers.
Well, he might need hands for blowing that out. So, but we were just so curious off camera that I know you've been wondering it all your life, and I definitely have. Is with this new age of technology, Spotify playlists, right? That's what the cool kids are doing. It's
popular.
They're making all their favorite bands and putting, essentially, it's a compilation, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's where at least my thought goes and why I propose this question to you. Because before all that, I know for me, when it comes to compilations, it's like it got me into certain bands.
For sure. Yeah.
And for one of the most notable ones happened to be, I just found it today too. Not that I owned it. I owned the cassette of this. Back in the BMG days. You remember those days?
Of course. I scammed them plenty.
Yeah. They scammed me. I did not scam them. Because I got this fucking Metal Meister. This is not an awesome, well, I don't know. I don't remember. I got to read the track list here. It had Mummified and Barbed Wire by Cannibal Corpse, Psychotic Companion by Galactic Cowboys, where usually most people would probably be going, ow, but there might actually be a fuck yeah off to the side on here.
Yeah, that's off Machine Fish, I think, and that one's it's not my favorite, that's for sure. I'll say that.
I've already imposed a question to the YouTube crowd. Are you a Galactic Cowboys fan?
There is a good Galactic Cowboys record. There's one.
Oh. Do tell.
We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
I think we should just continue on the compilation track.
It's a good question. either way, but yes. Moving on, though.
I don't know if I would have had it as track 2. I will say that.
Yeah.
They're really pushing that one.
That would be really sad if there were. And there probably is. Blue Suit, Brown Shirt, Sacred Reich.
That's another dog there.
That is. Into the Unknown, Merciful Fate. I mean, honestly, respectively, that's a dog, too, for, like, Merciful Fate standards.
For Merciful Fate, but by this comp standard, that's getting one of the top.
Amazing. It's rocking.
Right.
And that's probably how I got, because that was my introduction to Merciful Fate.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I really like this band. It was like, okay, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Meat Sandwich by Guar. Didn't win my heart.
No.
This one won my heart, though. The Enemy Inside by 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always waiting for that track, actually. I was like, man, when the stupid Meat Sandwich song's over, The Enemy Inside comes along. Because it was the tape,
Right.
It tickled my fancy in 4th grade or whenever the hell I had this.
No, I loved Haunted when it came out. I mean, I got it knowing that it was a super group, like Obituary.
Was the thing, though, about
Cannibal Corpse?
Were they calling it that?
Well, because it happened before Chris left. He was still in Cannibal Corpse when he did that. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was I mean, there's all kind of stories. I think they talk about it in the Cannibal Corpse documentary.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much like, well, he already kind of had this thing going on, so it wasn't like we left him with nothing when we decided to part ways. He still had 6 Feet Under going. He was kind of more into that. So he already had been doing that as like a project, because that was the one record that they did. I don't know if the EP after that came out before he left or after he left, but Haunted definitely came out while he was still in Cannibal Corpse.
Had no idea.
Because it was an Alan West Obituary thing with him and then this new drummer, Greg, or whatever. I don't know what Greg played in before that, but
interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah.
And
so I was super into it. I liked it.
And it is Christmas time. Chris maybe could come back and clarify that.
He should.
But before he does that, She Said by Screw. Now it's
I do own Screw albums, but
and
it's
then
not lighting this comp up.
It was a young Reaper fancied that track, and then I realized later down the road I was screwed by owning that album. It was too industrial for me.
Yeah, well, there was a phase,
But
with all that
Bill
stuff
Matoyer, man, he's all over this shit. I was like, damn, no, Bill did everything. Scorched Earth by War Dog. Nobody remembers that band.
Nope.
Track 9, Here and After, Immolation.
It's a great record.
Yeah,
I love that record.
There's no no fan, sway between that album at all. I've never heard anybody. Yeah,
that's solid. That's a solid record. Maybe the old school guys who just like Dawn of Possession, man. It's got to be fucking Dawn. But I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's
a fucking awesome record. That whole record is awesome.
It crushes this comp and especially this next track. Crisis.
Oh man, yeah.
Wretched. And that was a wretched jam. That wasn't a jam. It was
Karen's
wretched.
super cool and super nice.
You know her?
Oh, I met her before.
Okay.
And that Los Angeles, but
they are.
But that band, I don't know if they're originally from Los Angeles. I think she moved there maybe, but
what the hell? That was exactly what I was thinking at this point in the video, because I found out later that this damn thing broke, and now the video is just still frames for the rest of the video, but at least the audio works. Just, it's slightly different. But hey, you can get back to it and enjoy it. But I wanted to at least take this moment to remind you that I gotta buy this shit when it goes wrong. And if you really enjoy this content, then please show your support. Go to Reaper Metal Productions Bandcamp, and if you like any of our releases, or you just want to throw a few bucks on one of the HELLCAST episodes you download, that will mean the world to me, and it will help fix problems like this fucker. This is why I have swallowed the snake,
but
not that album.
Not that record.
Most people hate it, and that's why I have a soft spot for it, because that was my intro to them.
That was intro, yeah.
Well, I knew that, because dude, when you're a kid and you buy this fucking turd of a fucking sampler, this is what you get. You're gonna start liking this fucking
You're
thing.
listening to it over and over again.
I did. You listened to it over and over. That's why I started buying Galactic Cowboys, because I don't like this band at all, but it was on that comp. Maybe the other shit's okay.
I gotta look up. I'm gonna consult the archives. I gotta look. I know the songs on the record that I like from Galactic, but I can't remember the album title because that's how sweet it was.
Oh boy!
But there is one good one.
I would love to know. I'm gonna keep going on here.
Space in Your Face.
Oh boy,
that's the record.
I don't know how that jam goes at all.
Dude, that name alone, Space in Your Face, number one, amazing. Number two is like an astronaut, this old guy on the cover. You should pull that one up. But Space in Your Face, man. Circles in the Fields, all kind of winners on that record. Their vocal harmonies, amazing. It's amazing.
It's the first time I've ever heard anybody say
Space in Your Face, dude.
Well, how about The Curse by Ancient?
Oh, yeah. Ancient never really satisfied.
I didn't realize Dan Swano had anything to do with that.
I don't know that either.
Does anybody remember the band from Japan, United? Because I don't.
No, when we talked about this off camera, I
was
don't
like,
know
who
that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Kill
maybe
Yourself
we're
for
losing
Business. That's the song on
Killing
there.
Yourself?
Kill Yourself.
Kill
yeah.
Yourself.
And then Fall.
That wouldn't be good for business.
No.
Unless your business really sucked.
No. And this comp probably wasn't very good for business either. Decker Raya. Raya? I don't know.
See, I remember the band, but I don't remember anything about it.
I
can see the logo in my head. I can see all that, but I can't remember an album or a song or anything.
For as much as I've heard this comp, man, I cannot remember that song for the life of me.
Yeah.
And then I do remember this being at least the song by Armored Saint that I could stomach, Creepy Feelings, which is not off of
some
March of the
Armored
Saint.
Saint stuff here and there.
Yeah, it says from a 1989 demo tape. So I was always just demo era Armored Saint's the only way to go. I never liked March of the Saint and stuff.
Me either, really.
So
I
metal.
just like John Bush, but
and then now it took my whole adulthood to realize why this was called Metal Meister and how
the Jägermeister
not that
thing.
clever that is.
Yeah.
Which is actually because I'm such a dickhead and have made these attributes that Jägermeister, especially Monster Energy drink, when that is with metal, guaranteed shit.
Oh, yeah.
So Jaeger.
Doomed yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except, I mean, they gave people a lot of money. They had the whole Jaeger bus forever. Slayer got their Jaeger's worth.
Yeah, and they were probably the Monster Energy
but
drink
then you had
starters.
the OTEPs of the world, or those terrible strain of bands. They were all Jaeger bands. You know.
Oh, are they? I've never heard them, man. I just always
You're good.
okay.
It's a blessing.
I'll do that. I'll just leave it at that. Good.
Sometimes you hear things you don't want to hear.
Yeah, and this comp was one of them.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the introduction to a future segment of What Happened Metal Blade. Kind of like what happened to my video, but I think we're getting audio, so we're just going to have to stick with it for an important guy's schedule. So, comps, though, they definitely, like, why would you put out a comp? Like Hell's Headbangers does, but that's a different conversation of its own, because I've asked that same questions, like, why? But, you know, I get vetoed out. That's fine. But, like, because I think, like, why would you in 2019 when, like, I'm not so hip to it, so I really need to be informed first. Like, you go to Spotify, right? That's where a lot of this exists, because it definitely exists on YouTube.
Yeah, because I think the whole comp thing started from the tape trading stuff of people making mixtapes and sending people mixtapes.
Yeah, probably.
We used to tape. I'm not that old school where I was tape trading necessarily.
Oh, you're the midway guy.
I'm the in between guy where the guys older than me, they were the guys tape trading, but I kind of got that second half. So they were giving me old demos or like duplicated demos and stuff like that. So I was getting the hand-me-down versions.
Yeah.
But I was also the guy taping like college radio shows.
Right.
So like Dayman Lost and all those shows on CSB or whatever. I was just recording the shows, and that's what I'd be jamming to, riding my bike or whatever with headphones when I was 13 and 14. So I learned a lot from those guys. But that's what I think of when I think of compilations. I think of just getting a mixed bag of music. You might not know all of it, but you're listening to it because you're trying to find, you know, more shit that you like or more shit that you're into, or finding the next extreme thing or brutal thing or whatever your fetish was. And I think it was another way to, obviously, for the label to showcase other bands on their label.
Yeah,
when you have just fans of Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah,
and you go,
you're 6 feet under.
Yeah, here's this. And now you're really reaching out with Galactic Cowboys and shit like that, but with as many people as I probably touched, not from that compilation.
It stole my money.
It's funny though, because I never did like Galactic Cowboys at the time. It was like later on that a friend had liked them for years, and I was like, this shit's terrible, because I knew of Machine Fish. And anyway, but he had played it for me. I'm like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. So, but it took, you know, it was one of those things you go back to later and appreciate for whatever reason.
Yeah, or you could grow into or whatever, and that's probably what Brian Slagler and the people at Metal Blade at the time maybe were doing, and why they would sign that to begin with. Because there's a lot to be said about what Metal Blade did in this dark period of their career. But getting back to the topic of, you know, the question at hand, is it the new playlist or the new compilation? Playlist be the new compilation? Yeah, like, I don't think the conversation even needs to go much further than that. Most definitely.
Yeah, most definitely.
But what I think is like something to converse about is that, you know, in a way, I'm slightly bitter, because it's like, here, I just talked about, you know, how you would buy, like, you'd buy, you know, Sacred Reich Heel, and you'd be like, fuck yeah, Ignorance, I love that. Why wouldn't this be bad? Well, it was. You know, like shit, like you get burned. You know what I mean? Like, you could have heard Mummified and Barbed Wire, and like, this is not the Cannibal Corpse I like. You know, or which is oddly enough too, going back to that, 6 Feet Under and Cannibal Corpse, Corpse Grinder are on the same comp.
But you used to. I will combat that by saying you could most definitely get burned because you get a bunch of shit that you don't want on there. But at the same time, a lot of these comps were either free or they were like $2, $3, $5 tops.
See, I paid for it from BMG. That's
like
how I
full price.
I don't remember. Well, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because it was that whole penny bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's how I scammed them, because I was under 18 and I couldn't sign any contract, and you just.
I did it like
8 times in different ways, you know, or whatever. That's how I built my collection up early. So I did Columbia House and BMG. I don't know if I should be admitting this on YouTube, but you know, I was under 18, so.
Well, you know, fuck it.
I was like 15. I think my mom legitimized one because I've just done it too many times. Like, all right, we'll buy the 6 for the year or whatever. And, you know, whatever. But.
Well, I paid for mine. I don't know how much, but I paid something. Even a penny was too much. And I paid it, and I got that, and you know, and it threw me off, because when I heard Desultory, like, I did legitimately like that song.
Yeah.
But then when I bought Into Eternity, I put that on, and immediately I think, you know, boom, wow, even the vocal, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, it's honestly, when like people described hearing bands and how they were blown away, that for me, because I was already like conditioned to Cannibal Corpse and stuff, that I would say that Desultory is a little bit less extreme to that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the bands that truly blew me away. And I have this fucking comp to thank for that because I was expecting some grunge era fucking, you know what I mean? And then you got that, and it was just like, holy shit.
You would never expect that.
Yeah, right. And maybe that's why I like it so much more, you know what I mean? I don't know. And I think that's what's kind of more interesting about it is the discoverability that a playlist is eliminating to a comp. Because whether or not you got the comp for free, it still has some sort of engagement tied to it. Like maybe somebody gave it to you at a show that you're like, well, the guy had the heart and balls and whatever's to walk up to me and give me this.
Yeah.
That I'm a little bit more vested to give this a spin, especially if it's somebody you knew.
Well, what they used to do too is like Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Fest would have comps of the fest, of all the bands on the fest. Sometimes there were like 2 to 4 discs. I mean, huge. I have some of them still somewhere. So you'd have Fest do that. So it wasn't just labels. Like everyone kind of adopted this comp thing and to see how it would benefit them. And I thought it was a cool thing because then as a band, it was great because then you're getting featured on that much more shit. And then if, you know, I discovered a shit ton of bands on comps. Like, and I'm talking underground shit like Eternal Suffering and this brutal death metal type shit.
Yeah.
Where I would have never discovered that unless a friend was showing it to me or something. So sometimes it's that one track that, you know, you're listening through and go, all right. And then it just blows you away like, oh, well, shit, what the fuck was that? You know, what am I listening to?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I miss the mystery of it. I think there's pros and cons to the playlist being the new comp and obviously cons of the old version too.
Yeah.
I like the tape version because you're forced to more or less listen. Because if you're riding your bike and you're like, I'm not stopping to fucking change it right now.
Right.
I gotta like listen to it.
Or if you're at work, whatever the reason, and that's the point is like, or especially if you vested money, like you're just like, fuck, like I'm gonna like this, damn it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. You kind of force yourself to listen to it.
Yeah.
The reason, even when I got the CD, you could skip the track. So it was already kind of lost there because then you're skipping Machine Fish every time. So
you're definitely skipping Machine Fish. Your Psychotic Companion for sure.
Track 2's gone. It's almost like you're programming the ones you like to play in this order. So
my God, you're right. It's track 2. Like
they
who
really wanted you to hear that record.
I know.
They must have invested some money on that one.
Fuck me, man.
They wanted everyone to get to track 2.
Yeah,
they give you 1, knowing that everyone's going to be pretty satisfied with one way or the other. They're going to go, okay, I get it. I like this, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you go to track 2 because it's the next track.
Yeah,
you're stuck with Machine Fish.
What a switch!
So that was definitely a ploy somewhere.
But it didn't even like kind of at the time occur to me, and I think that's also kind of the art of it. That like, you know, here's a young kid that I was at least that I wouldn't have been so opinionated reaper as I am now. That like you just stomached it, you listened through it all, and like I did not even notice because, and maybe it was that age or whatever personality. But that's the point is that. It doesn't even give you the chance to let those things kick in.
Right.
And I think music needs that. Like I really, so I do think that if the question were, are comps better than playlists? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's the whole thing about being able to hold something and check something out.
Yeah.
A lot of these, you can read some of those liner notes, even if they're little ones. Like you didn't know Dan Swana was in it. You just discovered that right now. So,
and that might be a reason to listen to it too.
There's some credence. Yeah, there's some credence to that. Whereas I think the benefit of the playlist, number one, is obviously the ease, the number of people it can reach.
Yeah.
You can only press so many of those. They go out. You never know what the fuck's happening. You don't know if you're trading them. You don't know if you're selling them. You don't know if they're sitting on a shelf somewhere. Hopefully you just give them away for free at the end of the day. But so the Spotify playlist and those playlists, there's an ease to it.
Yeah.
And you can add to them. So like, I've made a redefining one. I could essentially keep the same playlist and just keep adding new releases or new singles or whatever I want to do to it and expand it. So it gives a reason to kind of people to come back to that same playlist.
Yeah.
Then it's like, why not just make a new playlist? So I think people approach it in different ways and I still don't know the friggin' answer to that either.
Yeah. That's a different thing of its own.
Yeah. And then like, how do you get people to recognize, okay, well now you got to play the social media game and now you got to be sharing and now you got to be doing all these things to engage that. And still, I think me and you have these conversations all the time. We're trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the best way to get this engagement and get people to start paying attention to the stuff that we're making. And, it's still sometimes a little bit of a mystery trying to figure that stuff out. So,
yeah,
I like the ease of it, But
yeah, for sure. But so now, coming back around though, Redefining Darkness, when you're coming out with, you do a lot of releases, especially for a label of the size that it is.
Right.
And, you obviously have Sentient Horror here with Morbid Realms. I couldn't see it there. Morbid Realms, their latest album, but you had done, is this the third release or the second one you've done by
Third,
Third, right, okay.
I got in with them right at the beginning.
So yes, exactly. So that's the point exactly. How did you, so now that there's not a comp to, do that, maybe there's a playlist, I don't know, but you running your label, how do you find out about these bands?
So I did do comps. Did I only do one? I can't remember if I did one or two. Digital ones, because that's what everyone has started moving to. Some like Bandcamp versions or whatever. It was just give them away. Kind of the same thing of what a Spotify playlist became. You were just kind of doing it on your own digitally on a Bandcamp or something. So I did have one or two of them. I can't remember anymore. But I did get artwork for it. I mean, I went the length of what you would do for a comp, except for the pressing part.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you are like me and trying to find new ways to do things and question the norm. And, we're always trying to figure out different ways to change the narrative. But it was hard because how small I was, especially then. Do I want to invest $500 or $800 or whatever to press all these comps that I'm just essentially giving away? So the digital version was a great idea. So I do like that Spotify thing. Not only are you giving it away for everyone to kind of stream and listen to for free, you're not having to invest in it. You're just investing in the records themselves as you normally would, and you're reaching shit ton more people than you would with any comp. So while I have there's that endearing thing of the compilation and what it meant to us growing up, I think there's other people that will never experience that. There's all these kids that never will know what a comp is unless they start picking them up. And this is their comp. So these playlists, they live and die by them. They're working out to them. And I think the benefit of the playlist is depending on what you're using it for or where you're using it, it could be that tape version that you couldn't change because you couldn't get to it. Or so people are working out to their playlist. They're most likely not hitting the skip. They're just like, oh, fuck it. I'm stuck in the middle of this set or whatever. I'm running
might be
I'm
next.
not pulling this out. Yeah, I just got to listen to it.
Because isn't there a certain amount of commercials that you got to do?
I think if you get the free Spotify, there's commercials. But if you get the paid version, obviously you skip all that stuff. But I think if they're engaged and busy in their life doing something where they can't just hit the skip button or I'm just going to find the track I want to listen to or whatever. I think that part is great.
You're right about that. I didn't think about that.
To that whole tape mentality,
For sure.
Mixtape mentality, which I think that's cool. So if you're driving in the car, it's easy to go, fuck this, But,
Yeah, or if you're sitting at home staring at the wall, which I imagine, especially if you're a kid, that's probably what you're doing.
We should do an episode on formats, to be honest. I think me and you could really deep dive into the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously J-Dog ain't here today, and neither is our video stream, which I don't know what the hell.
Yeah,
so it's just all
look at that the whole time.
No, I switched the angles, but at this point, you know what I did. So if you're just listen / watch, see these little stupid fucking freeze frames that just made it this way. I don't know why, but whatever. That though he's not being here. That either way though, not even the rag on. He's more of not somebody to be an audio nerd. That to have that conversation, I think would be better with you because you were a little more in the know to even have it.
Yeah.
That he's more of the passive fan. That's going to have more of an opinion on other things as a fan rather than the technicalities of stuff. Even though he's going to have his technicalities as well. But so nonetheless, if you're interested in that conversation, definitely leave a comment on this half-assed looking video / audio video that you wanted to hear that because people do say it all the time. I don't always know if that's something people want to hear unless it's too fucking nerdy or something. Because I can go on a rant on it. Well, somebody needs to celebrate it so their paradise is not lost. And I know that you wanted to bring up something.
But I don't even think
there's nothing to show at this point.
I don't think there's anything to show.
Well, you could at least talk about it. HELLCAST was once always just audio, and we were doing just fine.
Well, I brought it in only because it was in my car. I grabbed the mail on my way over here, and it happened to come in the mail today. But it's the Paradise Lost. What do they call it? No Celebration, the official story of Paradise Lost, written by David Gelke. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's been a writer for a long time. I want to say, let's just look it up here. Since 2002, he's worked with Metal Maniacs, Decibel, Dead Rhetoric, Blabbermouth, he's contributed to a lot. He's written another book, Damn the Machine, the story of the Noise records.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, obviously an accomplished writer within our scene. And Decibel looks like they helped put this out and got behind it. And then you have a foreword by Carl Willits, which if you don't know who that is, well, I shouldn't have to tell you. And, Paradise Lost is actually one of my favorite metal bands of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, from Gothic on and Lost Paradise and all this.
It's a hardcover too, so it's
really nice. I wish we could show it to you.
Yeah.
But I got it today, so I was excited. So I brought it in just to kind of show it off and support it. And I'm excited to read it.
Yeah, which is fine. At least it gives it more to look into when you decide.
I'll say it's limited. I don't know what the number is limited to, but
well, if it's there will be a link. If there is one, and I'm sure there will be a link to it in the description of this episode. Just like everything, Sentient Horror, Abysmal Lord. I dare
Metal Meister,
if it's even still available.
I would like to know in the comments if we can.
Absolutely.
What were your favorite comps growing up? I would just like to kind of see what everyone has to say, because everyone's going to have a different opinion based on probably their age and circumstance and whatever it might be. But Grind Crusher was a big one for me. I think it was Grind Crusher 2 maybe, because I was definitely not old enough for Grind Crusher 1. That was 89. So I was only about 8 or 9 years old, so that didn't happen then. But Grind Crusher 2, I must have discovered, maybe if not right when it came out, within a year or two later. I don't know if it was 92, 93 maybe. I'm not sure when that came out, but obviously those had like Repulsion and Morbid Angel and Carnage and like all these bands. Holy shit. And then even some like weird stuff that they were putting out at the time. So they had some weirdo things, because they're just trying to feeture stuff.
Yeah, maybe even like Godflesh would have been kind of at the
I think
time.
Godflesh is on there. We could look it up. But John Zorn,
Galactic Cowboys.
Extreme Galactic Cowboys. John Zorn was on it, which is obviously he's a weirdo avant-garde jazz guy, So
this Metal Meister, this is about it. This is the start and finish of my compilation, because
I understand why it was the finish.
It's pretty much, and then there was like one Century Media one, and then I don't know, a lot of everything else that just kind of fall like were like either it was probably like somebody you knew, like a friend or whatever. Like I did a lot of discovery through that. Actually, I had a friend in Germany. He was making me like some comp tapes and stuff.
Right.
And then I don't know. I just kind of I think I lucked out like that and was able to discover a lot through a lot of other means than always having to buy the comp.
Well, I think we had to at the time, because we didn't have the internet. Dial-up didn't become a thing until I was in high school, which is crazy to think about. I mean, you had it younger maybe, but I was already in high school when dial-up started. So like nearing the end of high school. So we'd get it. Luckily, I had the old Cleveland crew. I looked up to those guys. So Dwayne, shout out to Dwayne Morris, I guess. I used to go to his house, and he was a mass collector, and he would just give me shit, or I'd buy shit from him, and a lot of it was, let's not say booted, but copied and shareable. So I would buy a lot of that stuff from him, or he would just hand me stuff and give me stuff to check out, or old demos, or whatever have you. So a lot of that stuff I learned that way. So I can't thank those guys enough. And a shout out to Dwayne and Brian Sakula at this point, because I am working with them on that Vadiat. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Vadiat.
Oh yeah,
I should probably know how to pronounce all the bands that I'm putting out.
Redefining Darkness plug there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, man. And then obviously all the small ones, and then think of magazine ones. I used to subscribe to Terrorizer when I was young. I think when I was 13, 14, I was already subscribing to Terrorizer. So they didn't get into the CD thing until a little later, but I was still pretty young when the CD started going on there. And you start listening to those, and it was before it was kind of like the pay to play thing where
it's
more
they started
organic, asking like, here, throw us $100 and we'll put you on the thing. Back in the day, it was more like labels that they were partners with, putting those bands on, for singles and releases and stuff.
And that's actually, I didn't want to even like keep with it more winded, but actually that's just such a great point to highlight that it's like there might be slightly the difference of quality then to the conversation of the playlist being the new comp, that, it gives more access to anybody just putting together all their favorite stuff into a playlist, because it doesn't cost them anything but their time and just devotion of being a fan. That maybe in that realm, it could be a better thing, because, the pay to play does change the narrative a lot.
Quality goes down.
Yeah. And I think the transparency too. I think the transparency of like, when you're discovering that, when you're listening to Galactic Cowboys, as opposed to if you got the first Metal Massacre, which Metallica would have been on or something,
Right.
like that would have been probably that one's probably awesome because it's the first one, because the first one syndrome is
dogs on there. Too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like they probably would have been good dogs. I don't know what's on the first ones to rattle it off.
Right.
Because you know what I mean? Like it had more of that fan before it got money based and it had to keep the lights on.
Well, I think Goo Goo Dolls was on one too.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. They were on Metal Blade.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's not Dave Grohl's band, is it?
No, I'm a fan of Dave Grohl actually, because he actually grew up on hardcore metal. But no, Goo Goo Dolls is like, I don't even remember a song from them. But look it up. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Or don't look it up. It doesn't matter. That's another one you need to miss out on, I think. But they were signed to Metal Blade, which I thought was always interesting. I was like, how does this fit?
Yeah.
Well, that's very strange back then. But maybe that was their one that they thought they were going to break into the alternative scene when alternative got popular.
Right.
But they obviously didn't hold on to them long enough because they did get huge. And so Metal Blade, you fucked that up too.
Yeah. What happened?
But
Maybe
they're back on the train because, hey, they got Midnight now. So
yeah, there's a few things going for them, but that's something else then. And that'll be where we'll leave it.
Back on that.
Of course, what are your favorite comps? But also, do you want to hear about what happened to Metal Blade? We can definitely make that journey. Bring back some of those old HELLCAST segments, which we'll definitely do. And
can I chime in?
Sure.
We talked about what are your favorite comps, but if there's your favorite playlists, if you're one of these guys that is Spotify guys or the whatever you guys that are doing and listening to these digital playlists, let us know what's good. Who's making the best playlists?
So cool.
Favorite playlists, favorite comps, because we want to know both.
Yeah, and what happened Metal Blade? When you do all that, make sure you subscribe, go to hellcast.net and sign up for our mailing list. And when you do all that, that means we'll have your information and we can talk to you next time.